Hello, my American Studies 340/AFAM 350 students. This is Professor Donald Earl Collins, and it's week 13. And we are actually done with the lecture. Well, it's not really been lecture, the discussion part of the course. Trying to do round table discussions, is the course required, but obviously it hasn't consistently worked out because we haven't had consistently the same students coming to class week after week. Some of it's because people have been sick. Some people have been dealing with mental health issues of various kinds. I'm not disclosing names. I hope I'm not, I'm not trying to anyway, but that's the truth. We're all dealing with it, and that's okay. But the truth is, we're near the end of the semester, and there are basically about 3 weeks left between now and when the semester officially ends. For all intents and purposes, our semester in this course ends around April the 24th. I can give people maybe a day, maybe 2 days leeway, but since I technically have to grade stuff within 48 hours of the end of any course meeting, which in this case would be April the 21st, with deadlines on the 24th for the final reflection. Or is the final reflection, or if you're doing an optional third draft of your research paper and executive summary, that means grades pretty much have to be in by April the 27th, April the 28th, and I'm not working on my wedding anniversary, which is April the 28th. So there's that. Um, but because of that reality, and because roughly half the class, maybe a little bit more than half the class, maybe between half and 2/3 of the class, has either not handed in, either not submitted a proposal and or a first draft at this point, right? I have more than half the class that submitted a proposal. About a little bit more than a third of the class submitted their first drafts. That's It's not terrible, but it's definitely a little surprising in the sense that I think I've given everyone sufficient time to do the work. This is your second week. Essentially, this is your third week in the semester where you've had a break. Now, you had spring break. I was expecting people to really work spring break, but you had the week before spring break to do some work. There are at least 3 weeks in the semester where you've had far less than 100 pages worth of reading to do. And there hasn't been a lot of work with regard to, you know, productivity for the class as a whole, getting work done on their projects as a result of this. So this is what we're doing. If you do not have a full draft, a full sec, if you have not submitted, let me put it this way: if you have not submitted a proposal, I need a proposal and a full draft of your research paper by Sunday, April the 10th. By the end of the day, Sunday, April the 10th. No extensions, essentially. Unless you already have an extension. There are two people who already essentially have extensions, so those people might have a little bit of wiggle room or leeway. But for the rest of you, um, April 10th. April 10th is your day to get everything in. If you have at least done a proposal and a first draft, you have a little bit more wiggle room, but I'm still expecting a second draft more or less by April the 10th, right? I don't want 5 people contacting me saying, hey, can I have an extra week? No, you're not going to get an extra. You might get 2 days, 3 days maximum till about April the 12th. Maybe early on the morning of before noon on April the 13th. It just depends on circumstances. Because after that, I have to pick a line. I have to pick a line and decide, essentially, do you have enough time based on how far behind you are in the course to complete your work? And the answer is going to be somewhere between the end of the day on Sunday, April the 10th, and depending on what's left in terms of for reasons why, I have to make the decision. Some people are just going to get straight no's because you've had the whole semester to at least get a proposal done, and you don't even have a proposal done yet. So that will definitely be a no. For some people, we've at least done a proposal and at least done a first draft. You might have some wiggle room. If you've done the proposal, didn't do the first draft, you might have a day or two. But you're not going to get a full week or 2 weeks because there's just not enough time in the semester to do a cogent, thorough job of writing the first or second draft prove a proposal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for me to go, oh, that's okay, this will work, that will work, the other thing will work. Because as much as I want to give folks leeway, there's a semester coming towards an end. And so, what does that mean? It means that for those of you who do not, generally speaking, get their work done by Sunday, April the 10th, I'm assigning an incomplete, an I grade, to your grade for the course. And with that assignment of an I grade, I will basically put instructions to say you have to finish your research paper with an executive summary and get that in no later than probably sometime around mid-July. Right? I teach 2 summer courses, one at AU, one at my U Maryland job. And those courses come to an end sometime around the 13th or somewhere between the 10th and the 13th of July. So, in essence, I would be giving you 3 months to finish your research paper, your executive summary. At that point, you will not have to do a presentation at all, just an executive summary with the research paper. In some cases, that probably means your final grade probably, it might not end up even being an A. It might be an A minus, might be a B plus, right? That kind of thing. I'm not going to super penalize anyone for being late, because all of us have been sort of behind or unmotivated or disengaged at some point during the semester, or maybe the entire semester for varying reasons. Maybe some of them have to do with the nature of the course. Maybe some of them have to do with the fact that you think 100 or so pages worth of reading per week, which is what the average actually is too much, right? Maybe the whole thing is just too much and you're just going to school because you have scholarship money, and you know it's better to make use of that money than to sit idly through a few months of not going to school. I don't know. I'm guessing here in terms of where people's mindsets are, but what I can do is try to make life easier for you while not failing people, because the alternative would be to start, as much as I'm doing ungrading, I'm still evaluating you, is to start giving out grades lower than a B and certainly lower than a C in some cases, because I don't have anything to work with. And if I were to grade you just on the project, because technically speaking, 30% of your grade is discussion. If you take that into account, that means the project and everything that comes with it is worth 70%. If I have nothing, zero, right? So you can figure out fairly quickly how quickly I can go from giving someone or assigning a grade of an A minus, or if things are really hit out of the box, maybe an A, to an F, right? Or an FX or a D or C minus or something along those lines. And I'd rather not have to do that. So, for those of you who are behind, there are some scales, right? I don't want there to be too much confusion. Get your stuff done by April the 10th. And there will not be any need to discuss things like, I grades, and can I have an extra day? Can I have an extra 2 days? Can I have extra 3 days? Because for those of you who haven't submitted anything, there is no leeway. I will not give you an extension. There have to be seriously extenuating circumstances for me to give you an extension on a project in which you have not even submitted a proposal. All right? For two of you, you need to get as much done between now and April the 10th as possible. Extenuating circumstances or not, so that I have something to go with. Otherwise, that's an I grade as well. For those who have at least done the proposal, and done the proposal and their first drafts, you might have a little bit of wiggle room, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe even 3 days, depending on where you are, right? And you have to explain that to me. I'm not just going to give that to you, right? You have to explain it to me to make it easier for me to say, okay, all right, that makes sense. So that's what I'm saying. But by no later than the morning of April 13th, I will have some idea about next steps. Because the truth in the matter is, if so many of you end up with I grades, then we're already done with all the legwork of readings and discussions and everything else. This is all supposed to be project work at this point. And if there are so many of you that haven't done all that needs to be done, then we're probably only going to be meeting on April the 14th and not even on the 21st. There would be no need to meet on the 21st. Why would we have a meeting to just, I mean, we would meet basically for 25, 30, maybe 45 minutes to talk about the course, what went right, what went wrong. In this case, we definitely know what's going wrong in terms of productivity and output and what to do about it in the future, right? So there's that. But I just want to reiterate that this I've been thinking about this for a few weeks now, and for those who were in class this past Thursday for week 12, the 8 of you, 7 or 8 of you, well, 7 of you, because one of you left, before I could say anything about the I grade. Um, the truth of the matter is, it gives you 3 months. It gives you the remainder of the semester to get through your coursework. It does mean that for those of you who are, there are several of you I think who are seniors. It, it. I don't know what it quite means. I think you can still march with your class. But I don't think your degree is going to say May of 2022. It'll probably say August of 2022 once you complete your work by mid-July and get a grade, and then you would officially get your degree during the summer. I don't know what it really means. You have to check with the registrar for that. My, I have to think about the class as a whole and trying to maintain integrity um, ethically around the fact that some people have been doing all their work all along. Thank goodness for them. But at the same time, realizing that, you know, some people have taken advantage of the fact that, other people have been struggling in class, and some people are struggling, right? And truthfully, and I can't try to suss out who's been falling behind because they've just been slacking off, and who's been falling behind because they've got serious issues in terms of their psyche, their soul, their medical issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to have to suss all that out. So the truth is, if generally speaking, if you get your work done by April the 10th, there are no issues, right? You'll be on track to finish the course. If you do not, the consequence is an I grade where you have to make that up by finishing your work during the summer. And if you had plans for travel, if you had plans to start an internship immediately after the end of the semester, if you plan on moving out and moving on because you're sick of school, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to keep that I grade forever. I don't. Yeah, I need time off too, right? And I need to prepare for the next year, the next semester, whatever's coming up in the future. So that's hence the I grade, hence where we are, hence what we need to do. And so if you have any questions, if you need to meet with me, this week's the perfect week to do it. We're not meeting this week, right? There's a good chance where, things, the way things are going, we might not even meet next week, right? We're definitely not going to, or more likely than not going to meet on the 14th, but we're probably not going to meet on the 21st. So there's that too. So get in touch with me, email me. Let me know that you want to meet with me on Zoom, what time you have available, because this Tuesday and this Thursday, I have ton, and even a little bit on Friday, I have time to meet with folks. So I've had time all semester. Most of you just haven't taken me up on it. Okay, so that's it. Let me know if you've got any questions. Contact me if you want to meet one-on-one via Zoom. We're not meeting this week. So best of luck to everybody.